Hi, in this video I want to show you how to play Ruy Lopez as black. If you're from 1000 to 1500, this video is definitely for you. I will show you in details how to play Ruy Lopez as black, and you will be able to play it successfully because I'm managing this video to that level. Let's go! So the Ruy Lopez appears after e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, and I'm proposing to play a6. And as I see from the database, the main move for white is bishop takes c6. That's what most of players of such level is doing. D takes c6 now, because we want to unlock the bishop from c8 and put him maybe on g4, for example. That's a very convenient way for us. And here, you would be surprised. The main move for white is knight e5. Again, according to the Chess players database from rating range from 1000 to 1500. And black's basically after queen d4 can take an advantage already. The idea is that we are getting back the pawn, and after knight e3, queen e4 check forces white to go with the king, which means that they will lose the castle, or to go to the unpleasant endgame, because after takes, bishop f5, attacking the pawn on c2, d3, castle on, only black can say something about the advantage. We will finish our develop quickly, like knight f6, bishop c5, then check with the rook to e8, and the white's king would be even in danger. So you have all chances to win this endgame. Returning back, knight e5 is the bad approach. So white really need to play castle in this position. And I propose you the main move bishop d6 here. Our idea is super easy. I want to play knight e7, I want to have castle short, finish my development. I see that the main move is d4 when white's trying to use the bishop on d6 immediately. E takes d4. Queen takes d4, and here we just need to play f6. That is the idea. So we still want to play knight e7, knight g6, castle short, save our bishop's pair, fix the center, and receive a good position. I see that for white, the main approach is to play e5 here. After takes, just knight f6. We really want to do the castle short and use the f line in the future to our counterplay. So let's see, I'm just following the database. Rook goes e1, castle short, queen c4. That's the main move. For sure white counts on king h8, knight goes f7, but we won't give them this possibility. Knight d5, knight c3, queen f6. And now we are taking here and we are taking here. And lots of games really ended here, like 40 games. Takes, queen f2 here, and soon checkmate. So you really can't, like, by remembering 14 moves line, gain extra points. So that's why the e5 in general is not so dangerous, right? Takes, knight f6, following castle, we are definitely okay here. The other popular move after f6 for white is to play rook e1, like preparing the e5. We are following our strategy knight e7, and after e5 takes castle, it's quite as similar to the line we used to see previously. The point is that the position gets unlocked and our pair of bishops would be really great here, and our f-line counterplay is possible. Still on queen c4 I have the same knight d5 following queen f6, that's why black is totally better. If white will try to make some calm move instead of playing e5 or trying to play e5, then we can finish our development like this, for example. Bishop e6, here, knight g6, queen c3, queen e7. We can even think about the long castle in some lines of here, right? Just we are fixing the knight to g6 to handle the center, and everything goes great to us. So that was regarding to the exchange line, which is surprisingly still very popular. Bishop a4, let's switch to this. That's still well known, it's a main line. Knight f6, we are following the general instructions. Just we are playing classical Ruy Lopez as black. The idea that if knight goes to c3 to protect the pawn on e4, then after b5, because now white really wants to take on c6 and take on e5 after they protected the pawn on e4. We need to, after b5, bishop b3, play bishop e7, and knight on c3 is not that great how white can imagine. We will see why it's better to hide the knight on b1. Because in the main line, and the main line is castle, yes, knight takes c4 is possible here. No, it's not so good as you can imagine. It's like an open variation of Ruy Lopez. A huge theoretical foundation needs here. That's why I prefer classical bishop goes to e7. And here, white can go rook e1. That's the main. To protect the pawn on e1. If white will go something like d3, I will show you with the following line the spirit how to play these positions. b5, again, white protected the e4. They want to capture and capture. That's why b5. Bishop b3, d6, and our idea is to play knight e5 because we protected the pawn on e5 and take the bishop. That's why c3 is required. That's the plus of hiding the knight on b1. That white can play c3 and have c2 post. Knight e5, bishop c2, c5. Typical idea, which Chigorin invented here in this type of positions. We want to extend space in the center. What to do is white can do like rook e1, for example. We can just like make a castle in this position, then queen can come to c7. We have a good position that is very similar to the main lines. I will show you this later. So that's the spirit. After bishop e7, still rook e1 is the main line in these positions. b5, bishop b3, castle short. And here I see that two moves are very popular. c3 and d4. For sure d4 gives nothing. Basically after knight takes d4, accuracy. Because on e takes d4, white can push e5. Knight takes d4. E takes d4, lots of games finished after queen takes d4, weird move c5, right? Queen d1, c4, black's winning, because the bishop on b3 is trapped. It's a lot of games ended like this. You can gain points for nothing, right? So let's return back. For sure here, white needs to play e5. That's like the best approach. And after knight e8, which is forced, queen d4, c5, queen e4. The only one move, because we can't play c4, queen takes a8. So rook b8, again c4 we want to play, it's on an agenda. So c3, bishop b7, just making a development. And queen g4, just d6. Black's good here, because they won't have a weak pawn on d line. Again, the position is getting unlocked, and these pieces are not placed great for this game. If white will try to play bishop h6, it's basically losing immediately after bishop c8. And if queen g3, then bishop h4. And when the queen goes out from g line, we can just take. So you can even trap your opponent here, showing you lots of interesting traps, right? So that's regarding this line. Let's go back to the initial. So d4, it's not what we are really afraid of. Just remember that we need to play knight takes d4, and then we have a c-pawn march to block the bishop of white on b3. Still the main is to go c3, according to the database. And here d5 is interesting Marshall's attack approach, but the easy line for black is just to play d6. That's the classical Chigorin system. We want to play knight e5, then c5, as we used to play against white's d3. If white goes d4 immediately, trying to make pressure to the center, then we have a very uncomfortable pin like this. And you know what? According to the database again, the main move is to play h3, which is really weird, because after takes, I can just like grab a pawn, and we are having an extra pawn for nothing, to be honest. So the theoretical way for white is to play bishop e3, but here we can have the position like this. Takes knight e5. Remember, if we will grab this bishop on b3, the worst days are over. We are really good. And after bishop c2, to play c5 in this position, attacking the center. And if white will play something like d5, we have knight c4, just replacing our knight closer to the center, attacking b2, great position for black. In case of h3, we can save the tension with just bishop goes to h5. A nice position for black in any case. So the move 9 d4, it's not what we're really afraid of. What we can afraid of is when white goes with the h3. They're trying to shortcut the bishop and prevent bishop g4. But we, as you can guess, following the Chigorin suggests with knight goes to a5. Bishop c2, c5. And after d4, now our e5 pawn is under attack. We just need to play queen c7, protecting everything. This position is really quite good. After knight d2, I recommend you the modern line. Takes, knight goes to c6. And this position is good for black. If white will play knight b3 trying to protect it, I have the a5 idea, trying to make a pressure to this knight, and that looks really good. After like bishop e3, a4, knight goes back, I just can play something like bishop d7, and then my rook can come to c8, the position is really tricky, and everything is cool. Remember that worst case in Ruy Lopez you can get is a slightly bad position, just because it's very natural opening where you are playing everything around the center. So I don't afraid of knight b3. If white trying to keep it close with d5, then we have aggressive knight b4, forcing the bishop go back because he was attacked twice, and white wants to trap our knight with a3, so again a5 is coming very great here. And we want to transpose our knight to c5 in some case. Let's imagine the line. Knight f1, bishop goes d7, finishing development, clearing the c8 square to the rook, like bishop d2, rook c8, and after knight e3 we can play knight e6, and this position is even better for black. After knight c5 we will attack the pawn on e4, we have a very nice structure, we have control of the center, and we have a counterplay on the queen side. So this simple guide can make you able to play Ruy Lopez and outsmart your opponents on this rating. I hope that you enjoyed. If you want to extend your knowledge about the Ruy Lopez, I have another guide on my channel, find it. Thanks for watching this. Don't forget to hit subscribe, press like, and see you soon on new episodes.